Okay, let's talk timeline. I'm going to give historical events. We're going to keep this factual, but then we're going to understand what happened, how 9/11 led directly into the wars in Afghanistan and then Iraq. Okay? Simply put, the war in Afghanistan was probably a mistake. We stayed way too long and it was not a successful campaign. Now, the war in Iraq was much quicker. We decisively won that in a few weeks with minimal deaths on our side. And the original intent for us going in was rumors of weapons of mass destruction. Turned out to not be true. But I'm gonna go through why we did all of that. And against the war in Afghanistan because we didn't have that focus on distinguishing between the Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. The Al-Qaeda was the group that was formed by Osama bin Laden, and they were the ones that carried out the terrible attacks on 9/11. Pre-9/11, 1996 to 2001, Osama bin Laden is a leader of Al-Qaeda, is based in Afghanistan under protection of the Taliban regime. In 1998, Al-Qaeda bombs U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. We in America didn't feel that very much because although they were bombing U.S. citizens, it was located in Kenya and Tanzania. So even though Al-Qaeda did it, we in America didn't feel that that was a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. U.S. intelligence begins tracking bin Laden seriously at this time. In the year 2000, USS Cole is bombed in Yemen. 17 U.S. sailors die. Al-Qaeda suspected. Okay? It takes a lot of organization to do a big attack like that. Okay? So it's not just like random people. Like there's organization there. Let's talk about the 9/11 attacks themselves. September 11, 2001, 19 Al-Qaeda terrorists hijack 4 planes. Nearly 3,000 people are killed in attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. The U.S. was in complete shock. We didn't know that this would happen, especially not New York City. The only other time before that was Pearl Harbor, and even then, it wasn't on the continental United States. So now we had a serious problem that we had never had before, and that scared everybody. I'll speak from my own experience. I was scared that for the next 10 years, they would do terrorist attacks. I would go to sleep at night, and you'd hear helicopters overhead, and I thought, okay, this is it. We're probably going to get attacked at this time. Maybe that was through the media. Maybe that was, it could be for a lot of reasons. And, it's a shame that I was scared and that all of us were scared and felt that way. But this is the truth, that we didn't think it was possible before that. We were very optimistic. And then 9/11 was such a huge event that it just, it damaged my psyche in that way, which is kind of like, I don't want to get too into it, but it's like a soul thing where you think the world's great and going one way, and then it just turns out to be terrible and awful. And you're very young and you have to deal with that. So you don't forget that. And then you want to, you get frustrated when people on TikTok are 20 years old, which means they were born in 2002 and after 9/11, and they're making memes about 9/11, and they're saying maybe Osama bin Laden was right, or maybe that we deserved 9/11. So all that's awful and terrible, and shame on you if you believe that, and I'm here to tell you otherwise. So if anyone wants to debate this or anything, let's talk. Other people are just wrong. On September 12, President George W. Bush declares the attacks an act of war. September 14, Congress passes the authorization for use of military force, giving the president broad authority to go after those responsible for 9/11. September 20, 2001, Bush gives ultimatum to the Taliban: hand over bin Laden and dismantle Al-Qaeda or face consequences. A little bit after that, in October 7, the Taliban refuses. U.S. and coalition forces launch Operation Enduring Freedom, targeting the Taliban and Al-Qaeda forces in Afghanistan. By early 2002, the Taliban regime is toppled. Bin Laden escapes. I believe it was in December 2001. It's detailed in the book, but basically we had a chance to grab Osama bin Laden, but he got away. I don't know the exact details, but it was kind of a failure from U.S. that was reported up, and the word that was given out to the public was there was nothing we could have done, but in hindsight, we probably should have been more focused. But, that bin Laden escapes to Tora Bora. Then the war in Afghanistan transitions into insurgency and nation-building phase.